This is Kutztown Live, Kutztown University's campus and community radio magazine, with regular guest segments with the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce. More information can be found on our Kutztown University Radio website. And now, from the studios of Kutztown University Radio, Kutztown Live.
Welcome to Kutztown Live here on the radio voice of Kutztown University KUR. My name is Mike, and we are in the studios today with our special guest host, as always, each and every Monday at 3 o'clock, Lori. And she takes control of the microphone and interviews an interesting person, a member of the chamber. Lori, take it away. Who do you have with us this week?
All right. Thanks so much, Mike. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Ann Corda Timpe, and she's the community director of kTown Hall in Kutztown. Before we talk to Ann today, I'd like to just share a few updates about chamber events that are coming up during the month of April. First of all, we'll be having a ribbon cutting on April the 8th in Kutztown. There's a new business opening called USKA Fights, and we'll be sharing that information on our website at northeastberkschamber.com and on our social media platforms. So in the next few days, look for some details about the new ribbon cutting on April 8th. Also on Friday, April 16th, we'll be hosting a virtual chamber meeting from 7:30 a.m. until 9 a.m. Part of the agenda includes our monthly student recognition program, which recognizes students across 4 school districts in Northeast Berks, all members of the chamber. And our guest speaker that day will be Kimberly Stout. And Kim works for the SBA, Small Business Administration, and she'll be giving us an update on all the SBA loans like EIDL and the PPP loan, and also be on the lookout for a member meetup. We'll be beginning to host those monthly, and we'll have one coming up in mid-April. All right, back to our special guest, Ann Timpe from kTown Hall. Welcome, Ann.
Hi, Lori. Thanks for having me today.
Of course. So let's talk to Ann about kTown Hall. kTown Hall is the first co-working space in Kutztown, and it's housed in the former Town Hall building, right, Ann?
That's right, yes.
So tell us, for anybody who doesn't know what a co-working space is, tell us what it is, and tell us what's available at your co-working space.
Absolutely. I usually explain co-working as flex office space or shared workspace. So we basically provide a safe and professional office environment. We have desks and conference room space, and that's for remote workers, entrepreneurs, small businesses, organizations, nonprofits, really anyone who needs dedicated office space on a flexible, as-needed basis. And here at kTown Hall, like you said, we renovated the old Town Hall building, keeping as much of the unique features of the building as we could. So we have a really bright, open layout, very spacious. We, of course, comply with all the COVID guidelines with social distancing, having individualized French presses, etc. So we offer monthly memberships of varying levels. So if you need a day once a week just to get out of the home office, or you need a quiet place to take an important conference call, or even if you're a small business and you need a place on a regular basis to meet with teams or your clients, we can customize a membership based on your needs.
You absolutely have so many options available. You know, it was interesting. I've been aware of co-working spaces for many years, and I had explored and investigated some, even at some other jobs that I held. And I was doing just a little bit of research today because I couldn't remember when the concept of co-working started. And I found the information. It was all the way back in 2005. It's hard to believe that's, nearly 16 years ago when the concept, took hold. So, you've given us an idea, a wonderful detailed explanation of the types of clients who might have interest. And I've certainly been in your co-working space several times. And it's exactly as you describe it. It's a wonderful location. For those people that perhaps don't want to or can't afford an actual office or retail space, whatever it is, they can take advantage of a subscription basis. And as you said, it's very flexible in terms of the amount of space that they need or how often they need to visit kTown Hall.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, let's think about, I was just thinking too that we did a ribbon cutting for you because you joined the chamber a couple of years ago. You opened in 2019. Am I remembering that correctly?
That's right. October of 19, right before.
Right. Oh my gosh. Just months ahead of who knew there would be a pandemic coming about 5 months later.
That's right.
So, you know, we know that over the course of the last year, everyone's been reconfiguring the way in which they work and, of course, where they work, with so many people leaving their offices and moving into their home offices. So tell us a little bit about the shift that you've had to make in terms of during the pandemic, but maybe coming out of that pandemic, and how has COVID impacted the whole co-working industry?
Sure. Well, it's a easy and hard question to answer. It changes everything, and it in some respects changes nothing about co-working. Clearly, with everyone staying home and moving to a home office, they're not gathering together. They're not coming to any kind of office space. So certainly co-working has taken a hit in that respect. And it wasn't the first year we had envisioned when we opened late in 2018. But at its core, co-working is more than just a place where you can go and work. It's that community. It's the understanding that we just function better when we're in community with other people and with other businesses. And I think we realize that even better now coming out of the pandemic, being deprived of that peer-to-peer interaction on a physical level. And we're seeing, though, that it helps for businesses, it helps for entrepreneurs, for people to develop themselves professionally and develop their businesses better when they have that aspect of networking. And so that part of co-working isn't going away. And then you couple that with people moving to remote work. It means that more companies and more small businesses are going to look for more flexible solutions. And as the home office becomes the office, you are going to need times to get away. So it's definitely changed the way we view working, but I think the core understanding of co-working is here to stay.
You know, I had two thoughts while you were answering that question. The first one relates to the networking aspect. We know, just as a chamber, how much our members have missed that face-to-face networking. I mean, that's a critical benefit of the membership, because almost 50% of our members are small businesses, and they really thrive, as you said, on that personal interaction. Now, what's interesting to me about co-working, it's similar to the chamber networking in that, you know, with a chamber, you get new members, sometimes people cancel. So when you go to various networking activities or events, yes, you'll see some of the same people there, but you'll also meet new people. That's how I think about co-working. You know, you might never know who might be there when you are. And you think about the opportunity for those small business people, those entrepreneurs in the co-working setting to perhaps, you know, collaborate on a project together, right? And maybe you have a marketing person and somebody in IT or whatever the industry, but there's a new opportunity for business within the co-working space based on the people that you meet there. So I think that's really one of the benefits as you get along that idea of the community. I think that's great. Now, we know, you know, you and I talked briefly months ago. I think we were talking about the Candy Factory, and that's a very large co-working space. And I saw that they had moved some of their co-working to the outdoors. Right. So again, kind of shifting the model a little bit. Are there ways in which you're going to be, you know, adopting a different or new business model in terms of kTown Hall? Have you thought about that?
Sure. Yeah. Yes and no. We're of course adapting to the guidelines, doing what we can to expand our offerings and making sure that the place is safe. We don't have quite the space to move outside like with the Candy Factory, but inside we've got plenty of space to distance the desks and make sure that people have their own individual workspaces there. But as far as like business model, we are focusing a little bit more on the flex nature of the space for small businesses, even ones that might, like I mentioned, may have been large enough to have dedicated space before, but if you move your team remote, you're still going to need a place to meet clients. You're still going to need a place for team meetings, onboarding new members, even just team morale, meeting together when we're able to do that. So we that's, I think, where we see the most need, and where we're trying to meet that need.
Yeah, those are really good suggestions, because for myself, for many, many years, I've always had my own home office, but that doesn't mean that everyone has a home office or a quiet environment in which to work if they have young kids or what have you. So I agree with you that there'll always be a need for that. And maybe, who knows, maybe larger companies or businesses might look to, securing co-working space as a more affordable option for their remote workers who need that, as you said, conference room or other amenities that are offered by kTown Hall.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that it's a great idea. Are there any trends in co-working that you want to talk about? Is anything that's coming up? What's sort of the forecast for co-working in the next year? Do you know?
Sure. Actually, I think you kind of answered that, Lori. With your last statement. Nationally and internationally, we're seeing businesses, even larger corporations, giving up those leases and moving their teams remotely. Like, personally, I've seen that with friends and relatives, and they're looking for that flexibility. They're seeing that a lot of work can be done remotely and can be done effectively. So we're going to see businesses and larger corporations moving to a more flexible space like a co-working option. And I think along with that, we're going to see an increased interest in smaller spaces, more individual, locally owned places where people both have the connection to the community and want to support their community and build into that. And also they're without commuting anymore, we're going to see some spaces outside of the larger metropolitan areas even seeing more interest in that co-working.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anne, why don't you give us your contact information if anyone listening is interested in reaching out to you about your touring your space or securing some office space?
Absolutely. The best way to get a hold of me, if you go to our website, it's www.ktownhall.com. Has my email, my phone number. Feel free to call, text. I'd love to show you our space and talk to you more about co-working.
All right. Thank you so much, Anne.
Thanks, Lori.